Let's talk about Google Slides. So, Google Slides is a great application for you to create presentations, posters, etc. In fact, your activity here that you work through every week is in Google Slides. So, each slide is like a page, and they filter on the left hand side. You can have images in there, you can have text in there, you can embed videos, which is what this is. It's an embedded video. So you can add all of these things through the toolbar up here. But it's a great way for you to present something, whether it's a presentation on a famous baseball player and you insert facts into the slides, whether it's a presentation on yourself, like we did for virtual backpack night. It could be a presentation about an animal instead. Okay, it could be a presentation that you are sharing with somebody else, like this one that I made to share with other teachers about different things that can be done on a Chromebook. There are so many opportunities for you to use Google Slides for anything. You can have slides, like I said, about yourself. You can have slides for a presentation. They can also be used to make posters, which is a project that we did in second grade. We made some posters, and it's something that you can use that's very versatile. The really cool thing about using Google Slides is that the images that you put in are not confined to a very small space or confined to a certain place. What it allows you to do is it allows you to actually move the image where you want it. So if you use Google Docs, the images are locked into a certain place and you don't have as much control over where they go. But when you are using Google Slides like this, you can insert an image, for example, search the web here. Things are running just a little slow today. When I type in, for example, kitten, here we go, kitten, and I decide to bring this picture in, I can add this picture anywhere I want. I'm not confined to the bottom. I'm not stuck on the top, the left side, the right side. I can have this picture anywhere I want on this page. So let's look at that. I can move this around, and it will go anywhere that I ask it to on the page. I can add text boxes by clicking on the text box, and this is where I would type, and I can make edits using the toolbar. So Google Slides is pretty versatile. It's one of my favorite programs for a variety of reasons, including the fact that I've got control over where my text goes and where my images go. Google Docs is a great place for you to practice typing. It's a great place to put in reports. It's a great place to have pages that go down instead of slides on the side. So this is a great place to, when you type, you don't have to actually insert a text box. It automatically starts typing right there in the document. You can add photos down below, and you do have some control over where they go, but they are a little more stuck into certain places with where the images go, and it tries to trap the images sort of. They're locked a little bit more than they are in Google Slides. So this is a great place, like I said, to do reports. This is what this is what I used when I created the acceptable use policy that you are all familiar with. I typed and I used what are called bullet points, okay, or number points right here for a numbered list. I added in lines down below, but this was done on Google Docs. This is called a hyperdoc, and you can add colors within Google Docs if you'd like as well. So I actually put in these little tables here. They are three boxes of three, or tables that have three areas to them, and I added photos into them and links and color, and so it's a little more appealing to the eye this way because it's not a presentation, but it's something that you can utilize. So if you were going to type a story for a newspaper, if you were going to type a book report, this would probably be a great place for you to use that. So the app that we're using in this little area here is Google Docs. This next tool is my absolute favorite Google tool. It's called Google Keep. So if you ever are familiar with Post-it notes, or if you use them a lot and you have sticky notes everywhere, like for me, I got some sticky notes here, I got some sticky notes here, and I just write notes on them constantly. So I needed a way to have my sticky notes that kind of traveled with me, or that I can share. But if you look here, you can see that there are all kinds of opportunities for sticky notes. If you wanted to make a homework list here, and you wanted to say what you had to do that night or that day, and then you can check things off and you can uncheck them as you go. You can create a whole new list, like a grocery list. And then you can take notes here and say, I need lettuce and cheese and meat. And if you wanted to turn it into a checklist, you can. So you can see that this is really easy to use. You can change the colors, okay, and color code them by certain skills or by certain things that you want to remember. But anything that you have on here, it's just so handy because you can edit and change and drag things around, and it's like having like digital sticky notes. And if you have the app on your phone, it's just Google Keep, and anything that you have on your phone syncs to the online. And if you look up here, it's just keep.google.com, and it signs right in and everything transfers. It's awesome. It's a great place for you to keep a list of your homework, maybe some of your favorite things, or just things that your teacher says you want to make notes of. This is a great place to do that. This next one we'll talk about is Google Sheets, and we won't spend a lot of time on this one because it's not something that we will utilize a lot in 3rd, 4th, or 5th grade. So this is Google Sheets, and it is a set of spreadsheets, and it allows you to organize information here in columns or in a row all the way across. Okay, so I use this sheet right here to keep track of who the teachers are, what computers they have, what the computer numbers are or the names, what kinds of computers they have, their desktop computers, the special keys that they have that go inside of them for the number codes. I used this as a way to keep track of the shelf space from the library for when I renovated it. So I had things that are called formulas. So when you look up here, you can see that there are formulas, and it's telling the spreadsheet what to do and how to add numbers together. So it's really cool. It's a neat way to organize numbers for data crunching. It's a cool way to just keep things organized as far as rows and columns, but it's not necessarily meant for presenting text. So this is not something that you would normally see somebody use for a book report. This is not something you normally see somebody present on their favorite animal or a habitat that they've learned about. This is mostly numbers and information that is just needing to be organized and tracked. This next one is very familiar to you. It's Google Classroom. This is a place where you have all of your assignments, and if you were to look here, you can see that you've got your daily template here that kind of lists everything out for the day. You might have slides or docs put in here. The crazy thing about Classroom is it's just a way to visually organize Google Docs and Google Slides and Sheets and links to different projects here, because you could actually still access all of those slides and those docs and those links without Google Classroom. So if you took Classroom away, you would still be able to access those things, but it just kind of puts everything together in one place for you. It houses things in a very visual way with topics and names and assignments, and it helps you kind of move through things. So I'm not going to spend much time showing you Google Classroom because you know so much about it already, but this is one of the Google apps that is used quite often. The last one we'll talk about is Google Drive. This is where everything is stored. You come to those 9 squares and you click on the triangle, and I know those are different colors now. Some of these things are new icons. When you click on Drive, it takes you to where all of your files are stored. Everything is stored in your drive. So everything is there in different folders. The internet's lagging still a little bit, but it shows you all of the different folders that there are, and the more that you organize things, the more folders you may have, and that's fine. So if you don't use folders, you may scroll down and you may see lots and lots and lots of documents. If you have folders, you will see the folders up at the top. So this is a place where everything is stored. Your Google Docs are in here, your Google Sheets are in here, your Google Slides are in here, you have PDFs that are different files that are in here. It does not store necessarily links to websites, like your favorites list does, but this is a place for you to sort information. So this is like where I house everything that I create for a tech class, and I put it in here. And then I have it by grade level, and I have my different curriculum that we have. And so I have some things out here that are a little more general, and I don't put them into a folder, but then I do have things that I want in folders. So Google Drive is a place to store everything. You don't create projects in Google Drive. That's where everything is stored. The last thing I want to talk to you about is how to access these Google apps. So from the Google home screen, if you were to go to google.com or just open up a new tab, like this, right over here are 9 squares. When you click on that, actually even before you click on that, you can put your mouse over it and it says Google Apps. So the 9 squares, whether you call them the waffle, the Rubik's Cube, the 9 squares, the tiles, whatever you want to call it, all of these things are Google Apps. There are so many more things that I did not talk to you about today because I can go on and on and on, more than I already did, about the different apps that Google has. So you will see things on here that you do not have access to, like admin. That's one that is something I've got access to. You may not have access to Vault, because again, that's a teacher thing where information is stored, cloud print. So you may not have access to all of those things, but you should have access to Classroom and Sheets and Slides. So if you wanted to organize this, you can click and drag them. So for things that you use more often, you can put towards the top. Things that you don't use as often, you can put towards the bottom, and that will save. Another way you can get there is over here on the left side. Sometimes you will see this. It's not 100% like when you're in your Chromebook. I don't know that you'll see this apps button here, but if you do access Chrome on a Windows machine, you'll see different programs that you have access to here. Down here at the bottom and along your shelf is something that you have access to on your Chromebook, and down here would be a little circle, and when you click on that, you're going to have access to a lot of different apps that way as well. So there are lots of ways you can get there. If you wanted to type in to get to certain programs, like if you know for sure I want slides, you can just type in slides.google.com and it will take you right to Google Slides, and actually to a brand new slide that is ready to go. When you just click on blank, you can go to docs.google.com and it will take you right to Google Docs. So Google Meet, it's the same thing, meet.google.com. Sheets.google.com. So they have all kinds of different quick addresses for you to get to. They try to make it super fast and user friendly. So lots of different programs to choose from, and you're going to need to think about which one you might choose for a project next.